Hello everyone, welcome back to the course of developing machine learning systems, and in this video we're gonna try and implement all the data types that we learned in the last classes. So let's get started. Right now the very first data type that we learned was integer data type under numeric section. So let us say I write a is equal to 1. So now a is referencing to 1 and 1 is an integer. That means it's an integer data type. How can I check what type of data is there in a variable? So I can use type function for that. Now what are functions and how to use that? That is something we're gonna discuss in the later classes. But for now, think of function is that is something which takes some input and it gives some output. So this type function will take something and it will return what type of data type it is. So let us say if I pass a in it. So it gave int. Int means integer type data. So that means a is an integer type data. I can just add this in here only. So you can see it is an integer type data. Now if I say make this 1.0, so it will say it is float type data. So adding decimal in the data changes integer data to float data. So this is integer type data. You can also say this a is equal to -1. That is also an integer type data. Let us see a is equal to 1.0. That is float type data. That is decimal data. If I copy this again and if I add minus here, that also means it's float type data only. Now if I try to print the value of a, so you will see it will print the decimal there because it's obviously a decimal type data, -1.0. Now if I try to create a complex type data, then I need to have imaginary and real values. So how to represent or how to write complex type data in Python? So you can just write real part plus imaginary part and j. So 2 plus 4j, that will be your complex type data. So this is all the numerical type data that you have in Python. If I talk about boolean type data, so how you can say boolean type data? So you can have boolean type data like this. So you can have a is equal to true. So now if I print the type of a, you will see boolean here. If I write a equals to false, then it's again a boolean type data. So this is the boolean type data that we have. All right. Also, you don't need to always have a variable to check the type of data. You can just directly check also. So type of false, it's a boolean type data again. Now one more interesting thing, you can also use scientific notations to define the numbers, the numerical type data. So let's say I write 2.1 1.3 e4. So that means 1.3 raised to the power 4. So this is the scientific notation which you can use. So if I write this as a, if I save the value in a, and if I say write type of a, so you can clearly see it is a float type data. So that is scientific annotation of float type data. That is also possible in Python. Now another type that I explained was none type. So let's say you don't have anything there for you, no type of data, no data. So you can represent that with none. All right. So let's see the type of a here. So it says none type data. Okay. So none means void, nothing, not zero. Zero is again integer type. None means nothing is there. All right. So that is none type data. Now you also have string type data, which is collection of let's say Sumit, collection of characters. So if I print this, basically show the output of type of a, now it says str. That means it's a string type data. So we already discussed about all the numerical types of data and boolean type of data and then none type also, and we also added how we can use scientific notation to create float type data. All right. and we just gave a glimpse of string type data. Because string type data is a sequence type data, so it would be good to cover it with the sequence type data, and there would be a lot of functions that we'll be covering for sequence type data. So that's all for this video. Let's see the next videos to learn about more about the data types. Thanks for joining. Let's see you in the next video.